Obviously, the last time we did a Red Chairs chat, it was myself and Brett, as it has been from the beginning. This week, we are joined by Harrison. Harrison comes to us at the CanFit Collective with a wealth of experience within the trade. Harrison's actually been involved with the collective sort of maybe behind the scenes for a little while, comes with us to a couple of events, did the LZ World Tour with us, did the Crank It Up show with us. The video for that will probably be dropping in the next day or two. So in relation to this video, it probably dropped at some point in the end of last week. The idea here is to essentially just like shoot the breeze on things that we've seen during the week. Eventually we'll be set up in a proper shop to be able to sit down once a week and just talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Life challenges from the week, wins and losses. We might have seen online something like, something within the car scene, whatever you think. If you don't already know, we're in the process of moving towards doing how-to videos on our channel and also through a subscription-based service where we're going to teach you guys how to do a bunch of different stuff within the scene. We're filming our first how-to video on the wiring setup for this HQ or stereo stuff, anything that I might be able to help you with. That might be something paint related, panel work related,
Fiberglass related.
There'll be other people that come on board with us over time who will be able to share other things with us. So that's going to be mechanical stuff, that's going to be fabrication stuff, it's going to be a whole range of different things. Big things happening.
Absolutely. Speaking of this week gone, I've been MIA because last Friday my appendix decided I didn't want to play ball.
It left the chat. Totally left the chat.
God, if anyone's had appendicitis, wow, fun. What an experience. But again, leaning on gratitude, like thank you for being able to help Harrison out. Harrison's here now as well. Wow, what a week. Yeah.
I think it is 2 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 weeks on Friday.
I've worked more with Zach than I've worked with you.
Yeah, so Harrison came on with me at the paint shop a week in. My appendix decided to blow up, and then he spent a week with Zach, and he's going to spend another week with Zach because I'm useless. I can't lift anything or do anything. So if I was on my own, I'd be well and truly going backwards. That's for sure.
As much as people like to think at times that they are on their own, I don't think necessarily that anyone's truly ever 100% on their own. But the better the people around you that you have, obviously the better off you're going to be, just overall anyway. It's been no issue for us. Yeah. Like we've managed to do plenty of things last week and this week that's kept us pretty busy. So
I'm learning heaps of stuff.
Harrison's had nothing but learning, nothing massive mistakes, just things to learn from. Yeah. And it's good that you make the mistakes because as you make the mistakes, obviously you learn from them. Again, it's like a metaphor for life. As soon as something goes awry, it doesn't go to plan or whatever, you're like, well, now I know for next time I don't do it like that next time. Long story short, Harrison's come on, he's working with us. We're probably going to do like a week in the spray shop with the camera at some point as well. Long term, our vision for this thing has always been to be able to get as many of you guys finishing those projects that are in the shed as possible. That's like point number one.
That's it.
Point number two is then also being, if you're a guy that's only ever had a certain influence on your life, we maybe try and share some other information with you that might help you live a better life. Those 2 points have probably been our main 2 points from the beginning, and we'd really like to be able to meet as many of you that maybe are engaged with us or follow the channel. We'd like to do some collaborations with some other YouTubers or other people within the scene, but we need a space to be able to do that. We've also got an interview series lined up with a bunch of people. We want to try and do a series which I'm still working on the title for at the moment, but my working title for that is called Women in Wheels, and basically we want to try and feature some of the ladies from within the scene that are doing different things. We already work with a bunch of them. We work with a motor trimmer who's female. We work with a mechanic who's female, who's also a race driver, runs basically her own race team. An import model. We're also working with another girl that's just within the scene who we helped do a restoration on her MR2 a little while ago. So there's a few ladies that we're already involved with whose stories we'd like to share more of with you guys. These ladies I'm talking about, some are younger, some are older, but the ones that are older, like, and I say older with respect, like they're probably either the same age as me or younger. The reality is that if you've been into cars for 10, 20, 30 years, like, there's a sticking point with that. Mm-hmm. It's not just something that you faded in and out of, like you like this type of music and now you don't. Like, it's more of a lifestyle.
Yes.
Everyone's path to getting to this point is pretty unique, and I think that the female element is even more unique than say ours is, because ours is probably I could probably tell you my origin story. You could tell me yours. You could tell me yours, and they're going to be pretty similar.
Absolutely.
To a degree.
Yeah. I don't know. Dad's always been into cars.
There's my point.
No,
Your
he's always
dad, my dad, his dad. Dads do it all.
Dads do it
like
all.
he's always been into cars, and he's always had BMWs and cool things. And it just stemmed from there. And you know, as you grow up, you start to have adult money to play with, and sort of the rest is history.
Yeah, like I was just saying, the origin story of most people who are established in some degree within the scene is going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's some parent, most likely a father, had an influence and now we're here.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of the lady side, like, it could be much the same, but I really feel like if you're a lady within the car scene, there's a lot of a passion that has to be attached to it. Because being into cars, I think traditionally has been always seen as like a guy thing.
Absolutely.
You know, guys like cars. Whereas if you're a lady who's into cars, like, you really have to be passionate about it, because otherwise you're just going to fade out. Plenty of exciting things happening. We've already kind of touched over some of them, which we're going to go into more detail as things progress. But we'd love to have that space where you guys can come and we can interact with you. We can run events in that space. We can run some training sessions in that space. We can do some collaborations with some other people in that space. Even simple stuff, like we've spoken about having it set up where, you know, we might even have like a gym, for example, because we're not necessarily just about trying to build the best cars. We're trying to build the best versions of ourselves. And that starts with health and nutrition as well. And like, you know, we're not all the picture of health all the time, but we're always working on it and trying to get better. Like, a lot of us have been raised, especially in the car scene, on... I'll just go with the classic ones: cigarettes, alcohol, fast food, and all else. Mm-hmm. We're trying to look at it from the perspective of, are those four things the contributing factors to why you see a lot of people within the scene kind of replicate each other? If you look in the health space or the self-development space, people who are pushing really hard on that front don't typically follow that same mantra of cigarettes, alcohol, fast food, and all else. In the car scene, it's commonplace.
I personally feel that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. I like to think I'm a relatively fit and active person myself. I like to look after myself. But again, that came from choice. And I saw that early on as well, very much in the scene. It's hard. It's not easy.
Really hard.
It is.
It's especially hard. If you're the type of guy or girl that works in a workshop, especially, you got, you know, rock up at whatever time, and it's even down to things like the conversations. Like, we get pretty deep on this shit here, right? Like, even down to things like the conversations, like rocking up for Monday with this mentality of, oh, it's another Monday. You know, Monday-itis, because all I wanted to do over the weekend was I got hammered Saturday night. I spent all of Sunday in bed, and then Monday I'm still kind of hungover, and I don't really get over it till Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. Unless you're 18 years old, that's what happens. So if you're 18 years old and you're watching this, good luck to you in the next 5 years.
Body changes quick.
It really does. Between the ages of, I reckon, 17 and 25, it's one way. Maybe even 23, it's 23. One way. It's one way,
23, mate.
And then after that, it declines quickly. If you want to go have a night out, by the time you get to the mid-30s, like, it takes you a week minimum to recover from that.
The body just hates you for sure.
Oh, and you know, that's my point. If you're living this lifestyle where you're physically repressed like that from just a biological standpoint, like, what other effects does that have on your life that you don't actually realise?
100%. 100%.
Well, and coming back to what you're discussing then about as well, which is a big thing we're on in the collective, is the conversations.
Yeah.
Quality of conversations, the quality of people around you, the quality of people in the industry and in the trade.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a bit of Harrison's point of view on this. He's younger than us. He's got 10 years less than us. And I know that this is something that I know resonated with him. He came out of a workshop, and you said that's something that was a big thing for you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the conversations, just being around, you know, like-minded people. Like, I'm a big believer, you can become the person that you're hanging around with. Mm-hmm. You know, and I didn't like the person that I was turning into. You spend more time working than what you do with your family. Yeah. You know, so you want to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, you know, the conversations that we have, like, it dives so much deeper than, you know, just talking shit with your mates. But the other problem with society is it's just, you know, people are so same old, you know, what have you been up to, same old. Like, have a chat. There's nothing wrong with what you've been doing. Just tell me about your Lego collection that you haven't told anybody about. Like, that shit's cool.
Yeah, exactly right. Living a passion doesn't matter what it is. We talk cars because we're into it and we're common amongst that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It could be Lego. It could be travel. It could be anything. Even if you're into drinking, right?
Yeah.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Like I love whiskey, for example.
Whiskey, exactly.
But I love the stuff that goes along with whiskey. I love the history. I love the stories. I love the stories about the distilleries. All of it.
Yeah.
There's a big difference I feel between that and just trying to get plastered on the weekend. And like I'm definitely not trying to shit on anyone that enjoys going to get plastered on the weekend, especially if you're really like in that 17 to 23-year-old bracket. And having sat in the glass house on this side, I enjoyed that at that time. Right?
Yeah.
But there was also a period where I didn't necessarily enjoy that and I didn't have any interest in it. It just depends where you're at in life. It's all about seasons.
It's quite funny though, because it's like you never know when your last night out's going to be with your mates, right? You just get to a point where you just stop. You move on to the next thing. Like it's like a switch flicks overnight.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with a mutual friend of all of ours about, we were going out weekly, and I think the term we used at the time was we need to get our lives together. And I can remember having that conversation with him, and probably we didn't get our lives together that day. But it's still something that resonates with me as like a turning point.
Yeah.
This comes back to the point I was trying to make of things like goal setting and long-term vision, bigger thinking, or thinking further than, I refer to it as 5 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
Thinking further down the road than 5 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking more like, okay, in 5 years I want to be here, how am I going to get there? Yeah. And then looking at, like, breaking it down and saying, okay, each day I need to be achieving this, and this, and by the end of the week, I will have compounded enough progress to be getting close to that goal.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you realise, like, the 5-year dream needs to be massive.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start applying that kind of logic daily to your goal, like, and focus, it happens quickly. Look at this here.
Oh, this is a perfect example.
I can see your eyes lighten up over there because you know what I'm saying.
Oh, 100%. I can even just picture in my mind our January conversation we had up on your deck with an A3 piece of paper, which just had a whole bunch of scribbles on it that you jotted down of the stuff we wanted to try and accomplish over the next 12 months. It was even just a 12 months goal. And we're like 90% of the way through that.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the stage where we need to revisit it.
That's right.
Like, it's back to Grant Cardone and the 10X rule. Like, we could have written 2 pages, and I still reckon we would have accomplished it.
The question is, had we written those 2 pages, how many of the things more would we have achieved than what's on there?
That's exactly where it
And
comes
that's the
down to.
point.
Yeah, that's the point. Setting the goal and reverse engineering it from then, but then also understanding setting bigger goals, like Grant Cardone says in the 10X rule. Set a goal that's 10 times bigger than what you expect, because you would probably know you're going to fall short.
Yeah.
But would you prefer to fall short on a $1 million goal or a $10,000 goal?
That's the point, because
that's the point.
At $1 million you might still make 500,000, and obviously you're going to be really happy with that.
Yeah.
As opposed to 100.
goal, you might only make $5,000.
Yes,
well,
yes. Totally.
Which one would you prefer
Well,
to
$5
be
grand
at?
doesn't get you far these days.
No, it gets you to the end of the week.
So yes, you're right. It lights me up because considering I can't physically do much. Even if you think about 18 months ago when I finally reconnected with you from building the Lexus, Harrison reminded me on the way here that literally 12 months ago we painted a Lexus in this shed.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, we've got the booth now, we've got our space, and we're here now with Harrison on board.
It's not even 12 months, because we were aiming to have the job. I only just rubbed it off. Rubbed it off up the mirror, but it was the 19th of February this year that we aimed to have the car finished by.
Yeah.
Today it's like the 28th of November.
Yeah.
So not even a year ago, where I currently sit is where the Lexus was painted, and now we're talking about what the next things are. Now we've got an association with Hammer Coatings to paint the next car and the next car and any other car after that, most likely. We've got the shop, we've got the booth, we've been to all these events, we've met all these people. You met Jimmy Oakes the other day at LZ. If you went back through it, like, I've started journaling every day the things that happen, because you forget.
You do.
And that's why I'm also really thankful that we film a lot of this stuff, because you can go back and watch it and be like, I remember that.
Yeah.
Or even just photos of stuff. I was trying to refer a customer onto a product, and I was like, I remember I did a post on that. So I went back through the CanFit page to find it. And I had to scroll through a lot of shit to find this post. And in my head, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was like, 3 years ago,
Shit.
2.5 years ago. And going back through 2.5 years of post, and that doesn't include everything on the collective side.
That's just
the CanFit page.
Yeah.
I was going through so much stuff, and then I come across a job that I remember doing, and I'm like, geez, that doesn't feel like more than 12 months ago, but it's 2 years ago. So when you've got that kind of active reflection of life, all of a sudden now you've got all this whole different perspective on achievement. And so coming back to, again, the main point here, if you're just spending your time in the workshop with general kind of people that aren't thinking this way, they're only thinking to the end of the week, they're only thinking about what they're going to do on Saturday night, what clubs they're going to go to, what chicks they're going to chat up, whatever, and that's it. Where, as opposed to us saying, okay, well, we're going to sit down and set these really big goals for the next 12 months, and now we've achieved 90% of them, and the only ones we haven't achieved are the ones that are expensive. It's just a physical capital issue.
Just a capital problem.
But again, like, we're working on that. It's like, okay, it's a capital problem. How do we fix that? What do we do to fix that? And then in this case, we get to the end of the year. Harrison's come on. That helps with that capital problem because it means you can turn out more volume of work. It means I can have him doing something while I'm doing something else.
What was your goal with having someone on board?
When Zach and I originally looked at getting the shop and helping me get set up, we're like, we'll probably look at getting someone on in 12 months. Like, I've been in the shop 5 months this week, and Harrison's on board.
Yeah, exactly. And like, in the beginning, it costs money because obviously it takes longer for you to do things today. This is what we talked about today while we're working. But it's also good that it takes you longer to do stuff today, because the sense of achievement you'll have in 3 months' time when you're installing things or you're finishing things or you're prepping things in either as quick or quicker than he and I do it, mate, the sense of achievement you get from that is enormous.
Massive.
And you've got now like that driver to be like, all right, I want to be that good. You watch and you go, I want to be like that. That's what I had. I started and I had a mentor or boss at the time who had shit tons more experience than me, and jobs would come in and they'd be hung up on the hooks that we had, and it was like, oh, that's your job, this is your job, that's your job, and that's his job because he's the only one that's capable of doing that job. And so straight away I was like, I want to be that guy.
I want to be that guy.
I don't want that to be a such and such job.
That's my job.
I want that to be a such and such or Zach's job.
Yeah, that's it.
So I was like, what do I need to do? And so I just learned. I stuck to him like glue. I stuck to the other guy that we worked with like glue, and I just absorbed, like for probably 2 or 3 years minimum. And then people coming to me and they're like, how do I do this? I'm like, I'm on the right track.
Right there. You know where you need to be.
That's right.
You're helping people out now.
That's right.
That's what you want to do.
It's working out. We're sitting here right now, and I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to say it here. When the next guy comes on, you'll be the guy teaching him.
Exactly.
It won't be me.
No.
It won't be him. No. It'll be you. And that's then when you know that you've got to that point. And that could be in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depends on how long it takes. Depends on which direction the businesses take. Depends on all sorts of factors that we have no idea about sitting here today.
Absolutely.
But the reality is that we are totally different people to the people we were 1 minute ago, because it's evolution happening that quickly.
100%.
And when you reflect back on the business's side, or when you reflect back on what we're trying to achieve with the community, and I face the camera and say this so that I can chop this into a future video, I know that in the future, when we look back on this time, when we're at a pretty mediocre level in terms of subscribers, followers, and people who are just involved with the collective, we'll reflect back on this time and look at it as like the golden age. We'll look back on it and be like, geez, it was fucking easy when it was like that. When we could just put aside like an hour at the end of the day and just sit down in the shed and shoot the shit.
Just talk crap.
And now it's fucking, we got, X amount of people working with us, and this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and it's a fucking chaos. We'll look back on this time and be like, that was golden age.
That was the golden age.
Because right now things are happening, but more than what was happening in the beginning.
Yes.
And comparatively, like even going back a step further, when you and I first started on the Lexus, we had it parked there on the first day of filming, and we were just like pulling shit apart. We spent a couple of hours pulling shit apart.
We
At
literally,
at that point, the collective didn't even really exist. It
No,
was
we
just
were
going to
just-
be us throwing a car together.
No, I still vividly remember that conversation. I'll never forget that chat that we had in Monica. Valerie, your daughter, was only 1.5, and you invited me out for a coffee because you had just left your job. And you were like, you need to come do this with me. And like, I wasn't ready at the time. And then I think it was about 6 months later, you bought the car. And you brought the car around to my old shop on the trailer and I had a look at it. And you're like, I want to paint this car. I want to do this car. And then in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what's going on. You know, that scarcity mindset and that no goal mindset is exactly where I was. 100%. I'm not even going to deny it. That was me.
We've all been there.
That was me.
100%.
We still go there.
Yeah, you brought it here and I came over and you said, look, let's just do this together. And that's how it started.
That first video, if you listen to the audio on the first video, it's me filming shit on the GoPro, and then you're standing over here trying to get your own GoPro going, and it's not working. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to do this with you.
Yeah, done.
And that's it.
Put it this way, I'm 95% sure, being either you and I, or at least myself, will have like another page start up.
You know, I'm actually just gonna, I'm actually just gonna put this away, and then I'm just gonna do it with you. Yes, we can help each other.
That's it.
That's how it started,
And then it started
and here we are.
from that point there.
Yep.
And then, off it went. So you think about, again, I face the camera, you think about that sort of basic starting point to even where it is today. We feel like it's miles ahead, but we also treat it like I treat everything I'm doing now like there's 10,000 people watching.
Yeah.
Like there might only be 10, but I don't even think about that. I just there's 100,000 people that need to know about this, so I'm going to tell them. That's how I approach it, and that's why if you pull the camera out mid something, I'm happy to tell you what's happening because I think about it like that. I'm like, if I don't tell you, then 100,000 people don't know.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why, when it gets to that point, I know it doesn't matter because I won't feel any different.
No.
The only way I'll feel any different is if people are actually in contact with me, or people come and make an effort to actually talk to me, or people stop in the street or at a show or something and be like, yeah, man, I love what you're doing. I've been following you this long, blah, blah, blah. People started doing that. At LZ, people did that.
Oh, really?
At LZ, people come up and they're like, oh, I've been following your channel for a while. I really like what you're doing. That's cool.
Awesome.
I had people at Bateman's Bay who came up to me and they're like, I seen this Lexus driving around Canberra. It's sick.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got to see it today. I'm so glad I got to talk to you about it. And I'm like, I'm so glad you like it. Do you want to own it?
Yeah, it's yours. I was very, very, very disappointed I couldn't make the show.
Oh, we all were, but you didn't do it by choice.
No. Again, one of those uncertain things.
It's all right, it drove down well.
Did drive down well.
Drove down, drove back. More importantly, drove back well.
Yeah, the Lexus, the first one. It's the first one.
First one of many builds to come.
Like I said, we still got the Corolla, which we'll be discussing. If you want the Lexus, seriously, let us know. It's for sale. Come and buy it.
Yeah, we got other stuff we need to build. We'd
Yeah.
love to keep them all, and we've said this before. But we've got other stuff we really want to build because we really want to share that with you guys.
as well.
In order for that to happen, things have to go.
Exactly.
Again, it's just a capital problem. So we get the capital roll in, we can do more stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So buy it.
Buy it. Buy the Lexus.
While you're buying that, buy some merch as well. 'cause there's
That'll help too. We've got the Kingswood we still got working out. We've got the Corolla we got working out. I've got my RX-8 now, which we haven't shared with the people. Harrison's on board with his projects. Why don't you tell the people what you own, Harrison? What have you got that you want to build?
several things.
Several things. Which ones do you have currently?
None of them I'm wiring, by
None
the
of
way.
On the record, just so you know.
Zach's gonna
None.
Zach's gonna do a concentrically twisted wiring harness. With all.
That sounds like your how-to video to me.
He's holding the camera for that one.
No, so I've got I'm not going to say too much about it, but I've got an E30 that's getting the motor swap.
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be fast, in a straight line, be able to compete at roll racing Sydney and all that sort of stuff, and drag challenges,
And you got a V-dub Golf you drive every day.
You got a Golf, Mark 7, cookie cutter combination that everyone else does, downpipe, intake.
Golf R, we
Yeah.
missed that bit.
It is manual. It is manual.
Though. That's
So-
something I'm proud of.
I got that, and I got a little runabout Lancer that's the best car I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Currently owned by criminals. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got a skid band day coming up as well that Zach and I are going to be involved in for ourselves, which is going to be fun. But so much happening, people.
There's always heaps happening, and there's a lot of stuff that happens that we either release sporadically or just don't get filmed in time or don't get enough done on. But
The other thing as well is make sure you follow our Instagram, because that's where a lot of the short sporadic stuff gets thrown up.
Yes.
especially stories.
On the stories,
Yeah.
like it's just quick, simple. It's the raw stuff that you'll see, you know, versus the edited stuff that you're going to see on YouTube. Like it's just raw. See Zach with a frown or with a smile.
getting
Or
close
doing
into a
something
boot loop.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Harrison
always.
locked him in a boot yesterday. That was pretty funny. It made me laugh. Until my
It's
stomach
going to
hurt.
be funnier on the longer format video because we shot it a second time, and the second time was way better. I think my acting was better the second time.
You were more prepared for it. More prepared for it.
100%.
Yeah. It's great. You're giggling at it, which is a good thing.
I'm always having fun, mate.
It's good. And I said, I have to admit, being on the other side, even just, again, because as you, like, I've been out of action. I haven't been able to do an awful lot. So being on the other side and actually seeing these guys out there just being you and doing you, it's been great.
It's always exciting. There's always something happening. There's always a lot to look forward to. There's always a lot of things that are happening for a lot of people. It's just really down to recognizing those things when they're happening and not just getting kind of tied down into the mundane day-to-day. That's basically the format for this show, if you want to call it a show. We'll need to find a name for it. If you got a name for it, drop it in the comments and I'll consider it. Long term, we are looking to try and do this as a weekly thing and just throw together a bunch of random anecdotes or things from the week or life lessons. And maybe a bit more car-related stuff if we see something that's cool during the week that we think we want to share with you. I think I shared something on the story that was like an edit from a dude doing some drift stuff at Ebisu this week, and it was friggin' awesome. Just the aesthetic of it I thought was really cool. So, you know, if you're following our Instagram, like Harrison said, you'll see those kind of little bits
Those little snippets, like Instagram exclusive only stuff, yeah?
Yeah, that's what you want to call it. Use a nice word like exclusive. I like that. That's why he's on the team, people. That is why.
For words.
For words. For his linguistic quality. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and also thanks for your support. If you know anyone that's out there that might benefit from hearing some of this conversation, or if you want to get involved in the conversation yourself, hit us up in the comments below, or send us an email, canfitcollective@gmail.com, as we covered a few times. If you follow us on any of the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube obviously here, subscribe to us, but those are the places where you can get in touch with us whenever you want. And if you need advice on your projects or anything that you think we might be able to offer some value to, again, that's part of the reason why we do what we do.
Yeah, and we're functioning people, we're functioning businesses. If we can even help you in any way, like, just let us know. If you have a job you want us to do,
That's right.
reach out.
If you want some good value, some really good value that you're not going to see on anything, join the mailing list.
The mailing list is going to be the place to get the best stuff from moving forward, because that is the way that we can communicate directly with you without the assistance or hindrance of algorithms. So you'll be able to get a feed from us, you'll be able to get updates on when videos like these drop, and you'll be able to see anything that's coming up in terms of new merch drops, specials that run, sales that run, any of the events that we might be either running ourselves or going to attend. All that stuff
Moving forward.
is where you're going to find that stuff probably first. So again, big things.
Yeah, thank you very much. Until next time, peace out, people. Enjoy yourselves.
Bye.